The conference room was too clean for what was about to happen. Glass walls, polished table, reflections everywhere, no place for shadows to hide. My phone vibrated once. A message preview lit the screen. "You should check your email before he speaks." I didn't move. I already knew. The air changed when he stood up. My boss, 28 years old, cufflinks flashing like trophies he hadn't earned. He didn't look at me at first. He looked at the table, at the numbers, at the future he thought he owned. "You're all fired." The words were delivered evenly, practiced. No anger, no hesitation. Then his eyes finally met mine. "Too old," he said. A pause. "Too obsolete." I felt something tighten in my chest, not pain, pressure, like a vice closing slowly. 34 years in this industry. I had built half the systems he now claimed were outdated. I trained the people he was discarding like expired inventory. Around me, chairs creaked. Someone swallowed. Someone else stared at their hands. I was 62. My savings were gone. My wife had left quietly 2 years earlier. No fight, just a note and a lawyer. And in that moment, as the meeting adjourned and people avoided my eyes, I realized the betrayal wasn't just professional. It was personal. The email came later that night, not from HR, from him. A forwarded chain, sloppy, arrogant. "We need to clear out the dead weight before the acquisition. Investors want youth, vision, not fossils." My name was highlighted. So were the others, my team, men and women who had stayed late with me, who had trusted me when I said loyalty still mattered. I read it 3 times, slowly, not for comprehension, but for precision. This wasn't about performance, it was about image. I sat in my dark apartment, the city humming below, and replayed every meeting from the last year, the sudden exclusion, the closed-door laughs, the way decisions were made before I entered the room. He hadn't just fired us, he had been planning it for months. And worse, he had used my work to secure his promotion, my projections, my contacts, my reputation. Then he cut me loose. I didn't rage. I didn't call anyone. I poured a glass of water and sat perfectly still, letting the truth settle like sediment. Betrayal is loud when you first notice it. Then it becomes very quiet. I started watching. Not him. Systems leave traces. People slip. LinkedIn updates appeared overnight. New hires, young, cheap. Our old client list began shifting, accounts reassigned to people who didn't understand them. I checked the code repositories. My architecture was still there, untouched, renamed. I requested my personnel file, then my termination documents. Involuntary separation due to restructuring. Clean words, dirty intent. At night, I ran numbers. At 62, unemployment is a sentence, not a pause. Then, something unexpected happened. An email, 1 line. "I was told you're available." No signature, just a number. We met in a private office overlooking the river. He didn't introduce himself. I recognized him anyway. Old money, quiet power, the kind that doesn't need announcements. He slid a folder across the table. "I've been watching your work for 20 years, he said. A pause. They made a mistake. $95,000 a year, full authority, no conditions. I didn't smile. I was already thinking 3 moves ahead. I accepted. My first week, I reviewed internal reports from my former company, now a potential acquisition target. The numbers were wrong. Inflated projections, rushed hires, systems straining under inexperienced hands. Then I saw it. My old boss's name tied to falsified growth metrics, emails, approvals, sign-offs. He hadn't just betrayed me, he had lied upward. I compiled everything into a single file, clean, precise, undeniable. No confrontation yet. Instead, I sent invitations to my old team, One by one, they walked into my new office. Older faces, familiar eyes, worn but sharp. I rehired them all. The acquisition meeting was brief. My former boss walked in confident, smiling, until he saw me. I said nothing. I just slid the file across the table to the billionaire. Silence. Pages turned. Color drained from his face. "This isn't possible," he said, finally, too quickly. I leaned back. "I built the system you're trying to fake," I said, calm. "I recognize my own fingerprints." The room turned cold. He tried to speak again, failed. Security escorted him out before the meeting ended. I didn't watch. That night, I walked along the river alone. No triumph, no relief, just clarity. Power doesn't announce itself. It waits, it watches, it remembers. They called me obsolete, but obsolescence is only dangerous to those who forget where things came from. I didn't destroy him. I simply stepped aside and let the truth do what it always does, eventually. I went home, and for the first time in years,